Hey everyone, Jason here with another Nanocoaster video. Today we're going to be assembling RailBlazer from California's Great America. This is a Nanocoaster that I've wanted for quite a while now, as this was my 200th coaster. I already have the Iron Rattler one, which was my 100th, and El Toro, which was my 300th, but this one was not available for a long time. But it is available now from California's Great America, and also available on the Cedar Point online shop. So Cedar Fair has kind of put a lot of their Nanocoasters on there. I don't know if they'll stay there for a long time, but as of right now, it is available there. It's $34.99. So let's jump right in. So within the box, we have four things. The first thing is the base plate here. This is what we're building the Nanocoaster on. The second thing is a single sheet of track pieces in this metal here, along with a sign and the station building. So we'll be cutting all these out to build with. We also have a single 8.5 by 11 sheet of instructions, just single-sided, nothing on the back. So we have that, and then we also have the please read before starting guide on giving you the tips on how to best cut out the pieces. So the first step we have here before we start assembly is to cut out all of the pieces. To do this, they recommend using a pair of nail clippers or wire cutters. Here I have a pair of flush edge wire cutters that I've used on several models now. If you've seen any of my other videos, these are the ones I've been using. You can use really any wire cutters. If you want to use these same ones, I do have a link in the description down below on where to get them. So to get these, you'll simply just go around each of the pieces and find each of the little metal clips here, and you'll want to cut it. And I like to just cut and then twist a little bit. As you do this, you will probably bend the pieces just a little bit. You'll want to try to keep them as flat and flush as possible. But at the end of the day, it's impossible to do this without bending them just a little bit. But try to be careful and do the best you can. So we'll hurry up and cut out all these pieces, and we'll proceed at that point. So now that we have everything cut out and laid out, the next step before we begin assembly is to prepare the base. You'll notice on this base there is this blue film. This blue film needs to be peeled off. So on the back side, it should peel off in mostly one piece, just because it is a solid sheet of blue. On the front side, however, it has the entire track layout engraved in it, so you'll have to tear out each of the individual pieces. Some of these coaster models have just a white paper. Some of them have this blue plastic. Regardless of what your model has, you'll want to just put your fingernails underneath a sharp corner and just kind of peel away until it's all gone. Some people forget to do it. I don't think it gets forgotten as much when it's the blue here, because the blue actually looks really bad, where the paper actually doesn't look too bad. But regardless, you'll want to peel all this away. So I'm going to peel all this away really quick, and then we'll move on. So there we have the base plate all cleaned up. So the next step here is typically to begin assembly. However, if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I like to add a logo to the base plate. This kit does come with a little logo sign right here that you can see, but I like to have something a little bit bigger. So I've cut out a RailBlazer logo here on vinyl, and I'm going to apply it to the base plate. If this is something you'd like to do, or if you need the access to, if you need the RailBlazer logo in SVG format for anything else, I've included a link to it down below. So to apply it, I have it here on my transfer tape. I can just line it up here on the base plate where I want it to appear. And then press it down and peel away the transfer tape. So there we have our RailBlazer logo added to the plate. So also with this kit, you'll notice this is a very tight layout. With lots of crossovers and such, and so that's going to probably make this a little bit trickier. I do have some extra tools here with me. You may have seen me in the past. I tend to use batteries here to help me shape. So you can typically, use the battery to see about what your bend should be and help bend your pieces to the proper curve. That'll work really well with this kit, I believe. So let's begin. So step one is going to have us doing this piece right here, and this is actually going to go at the narrower end of the model. So we're gonna have the base plate this way, just like the instructions say, And then we can basically put this first slot in here, and then kind of bend it around, put the next wide slot in the base plate, and then the third one as well. One of the nice things with these kits is that typically the pieces only fit in one place, and so that's where that piece is going to go there. On the bottom, you'll notice we have 3 tabs there that now need to be bent over. On kits, especially ones like this that are super busy, you want to make sure that you don't bend it over and cover up another slot, because at the end you're going to have stuff go over. So these first 2 don't look like they have any conflict, but this one right here, if you notice right there, there's a little hole. So this one we're going to want to bend the other direction away from that so that we don't have any conflict at all. And so that's going to put that piece in like that. Now, in addition to that, we have this leg here at the back end, and that leg needs to be bent 90 degrees. And so I have a pair of needle nose pliers here, and I can simply grab that leg with the needle nose pliers. In fact, I'll grab it the other direction and just bend it straight out 90 degrees. And it's going to go out over my RailBlazer logo that I put into the base plate. That's perfectly fine. And so that's going to be our first piece of track installed right there. Now the second piece is going to come down here around this turnaround. It's going to use this very flat piece here with the 2 long metal tabs there. So those 2 long metal tabs are going to go on each side of this turnaround. Now for this, I am going to use a battery to help me get this wrapped around here at the end. And so I believe, if I look right, the AAA battery there looks like it's probably going to give me the best shaping. So for this, we're going to start with this long tab on the inside towards the piece we've already put in, and I'm going to bend the tab underneath to kind of hold that into place. And now we'll want to put the AAA battery down here in the turnaround and just kind of wrap the track piece around it, and then get this next one to line up as well. So then we'll get this next wide piece to fall into place. Now the track is going to turn and go over the first piece we did. So we'll want to just kind of bend it a little bit to follow the track layout. Once again, you have these tabs that really only fit in one place. So if you bend it so that the tabs are in the right place, then you're really going to follow the track layout. Once we have that there, we can bend over all 3 of these tabs underneath to hold it into place. And you'll see my shaping down here isn't perfect. In fact, I might get the AA battery, it looks like, and I'll just kind of put it in this turnaround and then just kind of press the track kind of up against it to give that really, you know, sharp, round piece. Maybe use the AAA a little bit just to round it off just a little bit more. But that's going to be the first 2 pieces of track installed on the Nanocoaster. Now step 3 is going to continue from this piece that we just did, and it's going to be utilizing this piece right here. It's kind of flattish with some small hills and then one bigger hill at the end. So we're going to start with the lower end here and just continue that from the piece we just left off with. And then we're just going to kind of wrap it around the circle. Once again, lining up the tabs as you go. So there's 2 tabs, 3 tabs, 4 tabs, and then the last 5th tab there. And we'll push those down into place. Once you have it pushed down, once again, you can just bend over the tabs underneath to hold it. You notice I'm not putting a lot of pressure, so a lot of people like to pre-bend the pieces here. I like to just kind of go naturally with the layout, because if you look at that, we got a pretty tight turn that matches the base plate pretty well. So that's 3 of the pieces installed for RailBlazer. So step 4 is going to continue from the bottom of this turnaround here, using this hill here, and it's going to kind of create almost an S shape across the base plate. And so we're going to start with the bottom of the hill here on the right hand side. I guess your left hand side, my right hand side. I'm going to put that first tab right at the bottom of the base plate. And then we're going to kind of S around here, put the second tab down into place, continue around with the 3rd tab, and then start curving back with the 4th tab, and then the final 5th tab here. And this one's going to require a little bit of shaping, but first we'll just get it down and bend over each of the tabs underneath to hold it. And then once you have that piece attached, you can just kind of come overhead and look at the shaping on the base plate and kind of bend the track to match the same layout. You don't have to do it, like I said, ahead of time. You can just kind of follow it now that you have it attached. Make sure the supports are lined up inside of the little groove on the base plate. And that's gonna complete step number 4. Now step number 5 is going to continue from that piece with this flat one here. And we're going to use the end here to connect, not the one that kind of swoops back in, but the one that's still angled down there. And we'll just continue that from where we left off on the previous piece. So right next to that there's a single tab. And then we'll kind of bend around this corner, drop the second tab into place, continue going, and drop the third tab into place along with the fourth. And right here is where it gets a little bit tricky because there is a lot of overlapping with these track pieces, and so you want to make sure that everything's on the right side of everything. This is really intertwined with itself. So now we have all those tabs down in the holes. We'll bend them over underneath. And then we'll have to do quite a bit of shaping, especially right here at the start. We don't have these two track pieces really butted up against each other, so we'll want to bend these so that they're really matched up, so that it looks like a continuous circuit at that point. And then we'll just continue following the curves throughout. And so that's going to complete step 5. So step 6 is going to utilize this piece here, and it's going to kind of go through the track. So we're going to want to insert it through this opening here. So there's going to be 3 tabs on one side and then 1 on the other side. I'm going to start right here in the middle actually and do these 2 middle tabs, just kind of get them lined up and drop them down into the openings. Then we'll curve this one here on this side and drop that one into place. And then lastly, this one on the outside of the track will drop it into place as well. So there's 4 tabs on this. Got those each bent over on the bottom now. And then we'll just do a little bit of shaping, make sure, especially like I said at the seams, that it looks like one continuous circuit. There's 2 seams there. And so that's going to be through step number 6. And then step number 7 is going to be the final step here. This is going to be the piece that has the lift tail as well as the first drop. And once again, this is a very tight piece that has to fit down inside of the coaster. So we're actually going to start on just this flat part with the lift tail and just kind of line up these first 2 tabs here on this side and just fold them over and get it held into place. Now at the top of the lift tail, we want to curve this about the diameter of a C-cell battery. So I'm actually going to get this C-cell battery here and just kind of bend this around. Now we also have to lift these track pieces up a little bit because, like I said, it does have to go over a few things. So we're going to just kind of shape it there a little bit with the C-cell. And then we'll put these last 2 tabs in on the drop to hold it all into place. And you'll see my shaping at the top of the lift tail here is really bad. So for that, I'm just going to grab this C-cell battery and hold it there and then just wrap the track around it and just kind of shape it. So this should help us get more of a rounded shape right where we want it. And so that there is going to complete the track layout completely of RailBlazer. Now there are 2 additional pieces that we need to add on to this, those being the sign and the station. If you've done any other Nanocoasters, except for the Nanocoaster Plus models, you'll know that the stations are all these little houses here. So we'll fold that house shape there, just like that. And then we're going to put this over the station building. The nice thing about this is it typically covers one of your seams in the track. So there's a seam right here at the start of the lift hill. That one doesn't have to be perfect because the station building is going to cover it up completely. In addition to that, we do have the little logo there with the sign, and we can drop that down into place as well. Bend over the tab underneath, and then I like to bend the sign back a little bit to put it there. So that is the completed kit from the box, along with the logo that I've added. Now, if you've seen me do any other Nano coaster models, you know that the last step I like to add is to add a felt bottom. So the bottom of this coaster is kind of rough. You have these metal tabs underneath that are all there. They kind of scratch up the surface that you're on. There's a lot of them there. We have them bent down, but they still scratch up the surface. So I like to add an adhesive felt bottom. So here's a piece of felt. I've actually already gotten 2 coasters out of this, it looks like, but I believe I can get this 3rd one as well. So I'm gonna lay my coaster here on this piece of felt. I try to use as many edges as possible, and then I'll trace around the base plate here with a pen. And then once I have the entire outline on the felt, I can just cut right inside of the outline to get the shaping I need. So I don't like to do it on the outside or right on the line, because you want the felt to just be a little bit smaller than the base plate. You can make it the same size, but then you'll probably have some hanging off the edges. So it's a little bit better if you can just have it just a little bit smaller. So this felt is available on Amazon. I have a link to it down in the description below if you want to add it to your models. It's not necessary. It's just something I think makes the models just a little bit nicer to work with. So there we have our piece of felt ready to go. To apply this, I like to peel off just a little bit of the paper on the back. It has a built-in adhesive, but I like to peel off just a little bit of the paper and then line this up and make sure the felt is completely covered. And then press it down, and then you can remove the rest of the paper backing. And then just kind of use the edge of the table to help you apply it, making sure that the felt stays completely underneath the model. So like I said, now that makes it so that the model can slide around on the table, and there's really no problems with it. So that's going to complete the RailBlazer Nano Coaster model. This is available from California's Great America for $34.99. Or for right now, also available on the Cedar Point online shop. I'll have a link to that down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. If you didn't, that's okay as well. If you want to see more videos like this related to nano coasters and coaster cutouts, make sure you hit the subscribe button, as I'll be posting these videos over time as I add to my collection. Thanks, and have a great day.